Hello, everyone. Today is August 8th, 2025, and there is a 5% tornado risk for Minnesota. 15% damage or wind gust risk for North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. It's kind of hard. It's kind of like it's tight. And 50% hail risk for Minnesota, South Dakota, and North Dakota. Uh, as of the discussion, scattered severe thunderstorms are possible later today and tonight across parts of the northern plains and up in the Midwest. Scattered damaging winds, large hail, and a couple of tornadoes are possible. You know me, I use AI for all my stuff. Sorry. Storms are already kind of happening at the moment. We was seeing that last night that storms could be firing. This should be elevated though, mostly. So nothing to really concern yourselves over severe wise. Obviously, this storm is looking kind of severe. I don't see much rotation on it, and there shouldn't be a tornado out of it. But again, truly, you never know. Make sure you're somewhere safe. With any of these severe thunderstorm warnings, only four of them, one of them in the United States. So here's the overall setup. Morning, a long-lived MCS produced widespread severe winds across North Dakota, but is now weakening over northern Minnesota as it moves into a less favorable instability. Main feature: upper trough slash low advancing from the northern Rockies slash plains into upper Midwest today. Surface patterns weak low over central South Dakota into morning, into northern Minnesota by evening. Trailing cold front drops into the northern slash central high plains. Upper Mississippi Valley slash northern plains. Morning into midday. Residual boundary from morning MCS may act as the residual warm front this afternoon. Boundary location in the southward extent by evening is uncertain. Afternoon into evening. Uh, environment east of the cold front slash south of outflow boundary. Moisture, rich low level humidity. Instability strong to extreme cape. Deep level shear sufficient for organized updrafts, but boundary parallel flow encourage quick linear mode. Initiation possible by late afternoon slash early evening over eastern Dakota slash northwest Minnesota and nearby areas as large scale ascent arrives. Hazards early stage large hail supercell phase. Later damaging winds as storms merge into lines. Tornado window narrow chance in Minnesota this evening along the outflow boundary with locally enhanced SRH and strengthening LLJ. Overnight, damaging winds could persist across the upper Mississippi Valley if the MCS remains surface based. Forecast note: due to morning convection uncertainty and potential late timing, SPC is not yet increasing severe probabilities. Which, again, they still could as the day progresses, but currently do not currently with the storms that have happened this morning, they're not expecting to. High plains, morning storms along long slash north of the cold front in western Dakotas. Isolated hail possible. Ample MU Cape plus strong shear. Central high plains later today. Conditions supercell risk. Large hail as storms form along slash behind front and upscale regime. Coverage likely isolated. Southern high plains. High base convection is hot, well mixed air. Weak shear, but outflow clusters could produce locally severe gusts. Northern lower Michigan, similar to yesterday's setup, isolated strong slash severe storms this afternoon slash evening. Modest northwest flow aloft, into enough shear for organized updrafts. Hazards, occasional hail and damaging winds. The key hazards summary, upper Mississippi Valley slash northern plains. Timing would be late PM into overnight. Hazards is large hail and the damaging winds, brief tornado possible. The notes, boundary location and morning convection impacts uncertain. High plains through the central area. Timing is PM to evening. Hazards is large hail, isolated severe gusts. The notes is conditional. Storm coverage may be low. Um, the high plains, southern area. Timing is PM to evening. Hazards is locally severe wind gusts. Notes weak shear outflow clusters possible. And then northern lower Michigan. Timing would be PM to evening. Hazards is isolated hail, damaging winds. Notes is similar to previous day. So we're gonna look at a few things real quick. I just want to get the photo real quick so I can get my thumbnail. Perfect. So models, triple H triple R. We're gonna use 13Z because 14Z is not done yet. So this does support what we're looking at here, although it's now 11 o'clock. It does kind of support that there's storms firing. And as we can see, storms aren't really going yet, but it's gonna take a very long time. But when they do start to fire, so this is probably gonna be a later stream. Yeah, like yesterday, I'm talking about maybe around 6 p.m. I could probably start streaming. You probably start the stream go up by 6, and then they're gonna take on just. It looks a bit more weaker. So maybe some areas into the night, it's pretty strong, and we are seeing that. This looks like a very strong line by 3 a.m. And as we saw yesterday, my cutoff is 3 a.m. Unless it's a large scale outbreak, and that's a bit different. Looking at other parameters, um, specifically like the EHI in this region is still kind of small, not like too high. It does start to increase in some regions, and that's why they do have that tornado risk. But it does go away as the storms push into that region. The STP in these regions, uh, it does go up before the storms arrive, but it does in some areas near Minneapolis, it does get really high, and even in like Brainerd, it gets really high. But as the storms push through, it will go a bit lower. Over near Duluth and all that area, that does go pretty high though. So it's something to watch as the day goes on. You want to make sure you have a plan in place in case you do get hit by some sort of tornado. Satellite imagery this morning on infrared here. Um, you can see some of the storms are going right there. Nothing too crazy though. But geocolor shows about the same thing. Some storms are moving through the area. Yeah. Real quick. Also, we're not done exactly yet. Want to talk about the tropics? As we know, we are on that heightened part of the Atlantic hurricane season. So every time, basically August to October, basically, we'll be doing really June to December now. Basically, one of the main two, we're going to be doing tropic updates as long as there's something actually happening in the tropics. This one has a 10% chance off the southeastern United States. A weak area of low pressure located a couple hundred miles off the coast of North Carolina is producing a few disorganized showers and thunderstorms. Development of this system, if any, is expected to be slow to occur over the next day or two while it moves northeasternward at 10 to 15 miles. The low is likely to merge with the front over the weekend, ending its chances for tropical or subtropical development. Formation chance for 48 hours, low 10%. Formation chance for the next 7 days is also low at 10%. But this one is a bit higher. It has actually went down since yesterday, but a tropical wave over the central tropical Atlantic is producing minimal shower activity. Development of the system appears unlikely during the next day or two due to surrounding dry air, but environment conditions are forecast to become more conductive in a few days. A tropical depression could form over the next during the next early part of next week, while the system moves northwesternward to northward across the central tropical and subtropical Atlantic. 0% chance in the next 48 hours, but 50% in the next 7 days. I want to look at the GFS model now, as we're going to look at many things on this GFS model. I have already taken a quick little look at it, and it does say something very interesting with a tropical wave. So again, I'm going to pinpoint a few things out real quick before we look at it. Up there is where the first one is. Right here is where this orange box is. But right here is something we're watching very heavily. So as we can see here, that's going to come off the coast. I can move this way. Yeah, okay, good. And that's not going to become much of an issue anymore. as these storms kind of get into that region. Same thing with this one up here. This one's gonna pull off and go north, and it doesn't even look like it's gonna be able to form into much. This is gonna start entering favorable conditions, which means it could form into something. And the same thing with this tropical wave. Looking at 11, the 11th now, that storm is really pushed out of the region, and I think by the 11th we probably won't be talking about this anymore. This is pushing into again more favorable, but it's going out to sea. And looking at this tropical wave, not much is happening. But looking to 2 p.m. on the 11th, again, we're not going to talk about this anymore, as I don't think it's doing much. This is kind of going again a lot more northwesternward, or no, I guess northeasternward. Wait, east. Yeah, I'm an idiot. So it shouldn't be affecting much anyways anyway. This, on the other hand, that's forming into something. You can't really tell now because it's not doing much at the moment. Again, it's still within that region, but it's going to start pushing off northeasternward. And I do think from once that it happens with that, it's going to stop being an issue that the National Hurricane Center talks about. This, on the other hand, still it's kind of slow with formation, but it's definitely trying. By 2 p.m., we haven't seen much formation. This is again per the GFS model. We haven't seen much formation off this storm. And with this, it's trying. You can see now, this and these kind of both look significant. I can tell you the northern one is a lot more worse. While the one in this orange region, this is about the 13th at 2 a.m., mind you, it's kind of stopped really showing signs. By 2 p.m. on the 13th, this storm is still within that orange region in the Sargasso Sea, but I do think it's weakening, and you can just tell by there. But this storm is starting to move into more favorable conditions, and that's why we have to watch this very closely. By 2 a.m., this damn thing doesn't want to quit. But this one is going to start pushing up this way. And you will see that by 2 p.m. on the 14th, this storm is a lot more significant looking and stronger. While this thing, it doesn't know what it wants to do. It's kind of recycling the whole time. By 2 a.m. on the 15th, it is a lot more of a look-see hurricane. Like you can definitely tell it's some sort of hurricane. While this is disorganized still. 2 p.m. on the 15th, this has become a lot more a standout, while this is still kind of trying and failing. By 2 a.m., again, this is on the 16th, trying and failing, it appears. This, though, is showing a lot more stronger signs of something happening. By 2 p.m. on the 16th, it looks like a genuine tropical storm, maybe hurricane, depending on the winds and the low pressures out of it. While that thing in the north isn't doing much. By 2 a.m. on the 17th, this is a genuine hurricane by now, and this is showing characteristics of some sort of something forming. And if we're looking at over here, nothing else should be forming from this region, and everything in the Gulf is under control. By 2 p.m. on the 17th, this is a formed hurricane. That's very obvious, and that's trying. By 2 a.m. on the 18th now, that looks like a sufficient hurricane, and this is a sufficient hurricane. And it's tracking towards Florida. By 2 p.m. on the 18th, it has shown clear signs of something strong, and this also is very compact and looks like a hurricane. By 2 a.m. on the 19th, it's getting closer and closer to Miami, and this one is staying just out to sea. By 2 p.m. on the 19th, it's going to start tracking a lot more north easternwood, or just northernwood, basically. You'll have to say that in a second here. By 2 a.m., it's going to go south, but then immediately push up north, which means now this shouldn't affect Florida much, which is a very good sign. Unfortunately, it's going to affect even worse. It's going to go straight north, while the thing over here is also going to follow the same exact pattern, go straight north, not affecting the United States at all. And then by 2 a.m. on the 21st, it's going to be making its way near Jacksonville. That's North Carolina, not Jacksonville, Florida. By 2 p.m. on the 21st, it has moved very close to North Carolina now, and the North Carolina area, even as far north as maybe Richmond, could be experiencing some form of the outer bands. By 2 a.m. on the 22nd, Jacksonville, North Carolina, that area, maybe Virginia Beach, that area should be experiencing some of the possibly inner bands. By 2 p.m. on the 22nd, places as north as Atlantic City, Philadelphia, New York City could be experiencing some sort of these outer bands. Maybe that's a big maybe. The eye is staying off to the coast of Virginia Beach, but again, certain areas are still experiencing impacts. By 2 a.m. on the 23rd, most of it's out of North Carolina, that Virginia area. Philadelphia could still be experiencing outer bands, while Boston, Providence, Norwich, Bridgeport, New York City, Albany, that area, even up north as far as Portland, um, they could all be experiencing some sort of something. And finally, by 2 p.m. on the 23rd, it's weakened very fastly as going into unfavorable conditions. But places as far as all of Maine, basically, all the eastern part of Maine, should be experiencing some sort of impacts from this remain, while places into Canada could also experience something. And the 24th, this is the last one we have, by the way, 24th at 2 a.m., it's more of a Canadian issue. So that's what we have on the tropics. Thank you guys for tuning in today. If you watched the whole video, again, I would mean the world if you did. Do not forget to like and subscribe. It helps me out a ton. It helps other people see my content, and it means other people are more aware of these storms that could happen, and that's what I care about the most. And thank you guys for tuning into yesterday's stream. It means a lot. But again, that's it. Again, I do expect to be live, but around 6 p.m. maybe, give or take. But again, thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys soon. Goodbye.